Matthew Brown was born in the 1940s right here in Macon, Georgia. According to the website Sir Shambling's Deep Soul Heaven, he came from a musical family which included his cousin Robert Thomas, who Matt recorded several records with. According to another website, Matt got his break through an association with Otis Redding. Over the years, he's recorded for LeCam, Jarvel, Uni Records, which is Universal. He toured with Solomon Burke in the 1980s. He's included in this compilation of soul artists from Macon, Georgia, called Macon Soul Soup. He's got numerous college degrees. He served in the Air Force. He plays bass, keyboards, and of course, he sings. Welcome, Matthew Brown.
Thank you very much.
Do you prefer Matthew or Matt?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Tell us about your childhood and your musical background.
Okay, excuse me. I was born to a musical dad, and he sang gospel.
Sure.
And his nephew, which they grew up like brothers, they had the original Morning Star group together. So they took my three cousins, Robert Thomas, Reverend Eddie Smith, and Robert's brother Calvin, and they taught us to sing harmony. And through that, I really acquired a love for music. My sisters and all of us, we sang at home. Daddy always had us singing at home. And we were the nucleus to the H.V. Johnson Gospel Singers that traveled with Solomon Burke. And they started singing as little kids also. But my cousins, we were the Morning Star Juniors. And we would go do programs with our dads, and they would let us come up and sing a couple of songs, and it was just over the moon for us. That was the first time I saw Johnny Jenkins. He was playing for a gospel group back then. And after that, as we got to be teenagers, we kind of drifted away from singing together. And Robert started singing with a guy from Macon called Percy Welch. And so during that time, I went in the Air Force, and I spent 4 years in the Air Force. And while I was in the Air Force, I went to see Otis do a show at, I think it was the Island Club, I think it was called. And
this was in Florida?
Yeah.
Yep, you told me about that.
Yeah, in Miami. I'd say it like it is. My first wife, she knew him because he hung with some of her cousins.
Okay.
And so that's how I met Otis. And he called us to come back and sit in the dressing room with him. And I was so inspired looking at the party they was having in the dressing room. I figured right then, hey, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And after that, I talked to Otis, and I told him he made me want to do it. And he told me that he would help me if I was truly serious about it. And I said, sure I am. I think I had about 6 months left on my tour duty, and he was killed.
I wasn't really aware of you until late last year sometime when J-Mo called me.
Yeah, J-Mo and I, we played in a little place here back in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Before I started doing the gospel. And he and I and Tim Brooks.
Right.
We had a 3-piece. And then we got Robert Coleman played guitar. That's when Jay had to go with us. I think it was Sea Level.
Yeah.
And so I ran into him when I was in Philadelphia with Sea Level. Hamp Swain and Alan Walden and a couple other people were supposed to be managing us. So by him being a disc jockey and
Hamp Swain.
Yeah, Hamp Swain called King B. So through that, I was able to open the show for all of the major R&B artists. That was in the early 70s. And I met Millie Jackson, Eddie Floyd, Solomon Burke. I met him later through Otis' brother. And just all of them really. Johnny Taylor. I did stuff with Johnny Taylor, Soul Children, Jay Blackfoot. I could go on and on with the people that I had the privilege of sharing the stage with.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was very blessed because that was my desire.
Right.
I didn't make a lot of money, but I had a lot of fun.
Sure. By the way, JMO called me a couple of weeks ago to get your number. Did he call you up?
He might have. He might have. I get so many calls during the day. Most of the time, I just stop answering at a certain time.
At some time, you got a music degree.
Yeah, I had got that bass and a guy around here named Reggie Hall. He was a master musician. He played organ and saxophone, and he started teaching. I looked at the bass and I thought the bass was the easiest thing to learn how to play since it didn't have 4 strings.
Right.
But boy, did I fool myself! But I fell in love with it, and I started teaching myself. And when I moved away and went to college, Combs College of Music in Philadelphia.
Why did you go to Philadelphia?
I went there particularly to go to school there.
Okay. A lot of music schools are classically based. So is that what you were learning?
Yeah, well, that's what I was learning. I knocked around up there for about 5 years, and I ran into a lot of musicians. They would come to my house and jam. So we ended up putting a group together. Somebody saw us playing at a bar one night, and he fell in love with the group. He said, "Man, I need to get y'all on the boardwalk." So we became the house band for Club of Harlem on the boardwalk in Atlantic City.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, and it was a step up, but the thing of it was, like it was a 9 to 5. When they say a 9 to 5, it was a 9 to 5. You get in at 9 o'clock.
Was this 9 in the morning or 9 p.m.?
9 p.m.
p.m. Okay.
And you played to 3 or 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And you had 15-minute breaks between them.
Yeah.
We had 2 matinees on Saturday and 3 on Sunday.
Wow.
That was work.
That's brutal.
So I just ran away from that.
Yeah.
But when I was in Philadelphia, man, I got to play with some guys that I had no business even sitting in a room with.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I got ready to leave Philadelphia to come back home, my cousin called me to come over. She said she had somebody who she wanted me to meet, and he was sitting at the table in the kitchen. And I went in the kitchen, and it was none other than me and Mrs. Jones.
Oh, Billy Paul?
Billy Paul.
Yeah.
And we sat there. He had some tapes, and we sat there and we sang blues and knocked out our heads a little bit.
Right.
And we had a lot of fun. And I came to Macon in June and stayed because Tommy Goodwin told me he had worked at Underground Atlanta.
Yeah.
And he would pay me $150 a night.
Wow.
Playing 6 nights a week. I said, well, that's all I need.
Yeah.
So I went back and picked up my stuff and came back to Macon.
Yeah, Tommy was a piano player who just passed away a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
All right, so give me a sense of your timeline. When did you record with your cousin?
Okay. I cut my first record the last year of my tour of duty. And I signed a contract with his manager. He was called Ted Clark. His name was Brian Scruggs. He was a disc jockey at WBML. And
There's a radio station here in Macon.
Yes. Yeah, and we went to his house and he liquored us up and all this kind of stuff. And,
Oh, yeah.
And then he threw the papers on tape and said, sign right here, right here. I said, what's that? He said, you want to make a record, don't you? I said, yeah. Sign right here. I didn't read it. I didn't take it to a lawyer, anything.
I bet you don't have a copy of that contract right now.
No.
What songs do you know, remember what songs y'all did under that contract?
One of them was Mr. Pitiful.
Okay.
And
you did a couple of Otis songs.
Yeah, that's when we did those, and they were done here. And in that same session, we did the thing. They came out with it, called us the Men from Macon,
Right.
Firelighter.
Okay.
It was a rock tune that was written right in the studio. Hamp Swain came up with some words, and
when you say the studio, you mean this
studio?
We're in Capricorn Studios.
Capricorn Studio, yeah.
So.
Right here.
Yeah.
And I recorded again in the '80s with the choir that I was with Solomon Burke, and we left our master supposed in the vault. He said that's the only way it to have long life. And when I did come back to try to retrieve it, it couldn't be found. Otis Redding, he was in charge of the studio then.
Otis the third.
Third, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of good friends with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. and so when I came and I couldn't find that one, so we I think we spent about $6,000 getting it done, and I was told today that they found somebody with a copy of it.
Oh, cool.
That I'm planning on going to pick up when I leave here.
All right.
Because I don't have a copy. Solomon Burke, we got with him, and he didn't want to release the stuff that we had done here. So
Okay.
so he brought a studio here in the back of one of those big long trucks
Yeah.
up the street from here, where my daddy was a pastor, and there were so many people there, the cars couldn't get past in the street.
Wow.
And we recorded it there, and Solomon Burke had this record that they played at Christmas time, a Silent Night. We recorded that with him in my daddy's church. Yeah.
Solomon was a bigger than life in more ways than one.
Yeah.
He was a big guy.
Yeah.
And big personality. And,
Yeah.
from what I hear, you don't want to cross Solomon Burke. So
I tell you a story he told me. He told me when he first signed his first contract, he said the guy that was managing him was supposed to have been back then the Godfather. And he told him he wanted to manage him, and he wanted to know what he had to do to manage him. So he told him, he said he wanted $10,000 up front. He wanted a new Cadillac, and he said he was just throwing it out. He didn't really think he would do it.
uh-huh.
He said, and then he heard his doorbell one night, and his chauffeur was standing there with a briefcase, and opened it up, and full of money,
Uh-huh.
and they handed him some keys and said, and there you Cadillac.
Okay.
And that sign right here.
Yeah.
Now that's what he said. You know, I don't put a lot of stock in a lot of things Solomon said, because he could twist things. So Hamp Swain, he was a disc jockey when I met him, and he was doing Gloria Walker out of Mississippi. Gloria Walker had a record that went nationwide a hit. She even went and sang at the Apollo Theater.
Yeah.
And so I got with Hamp, and I ended up being male singer and road manager for her. And we did a lot of traveling together. And then after her band broke up, and she just kind of backed away from it, another girl was from down the same way, down in Sparta, called Nancy Butts.
Right.
And so I had a contract on her, and I used to be the male vocalist, on her show.
Yeah. By the way, this is Hamp Swain here on the cover of this album, and Nancy Butts is also on this
Right.
album. So.
Now Hamp Swain, he was a musician. He played saxophone,
Right.
and he told me many stories that he had when he was playing with Little Richard, and he was that they had a lot of fun.
Hamp was the first person to record James Brown.
Yeah.
He recorded Please, Please, Please
Yeah.
at a radio station
WIBB.
that is not too far from here. What was it like being around during the time of Otis and James Brown?
Now Otis, like I said, I got to see him several times when I was in the Air Force. But I met James because he would come to the Key Club that I was talking about. All the guys went to jam.
Yeah.
And I went to his house, went to James Brown's house to sign a booking contract. And it was called Man's World Enterprise.
Okay.
And he had his 18-year-old son supposed to be managing it. And James' father, he was, kind of helping his son along. And they looked like triplets.
At some point, you were on Uni Records, which is Universal Records, which is a big deal.
We didn't have any say so of any of the stuff we recorded, and I wasn't pleased with it because a lot of it I wasn't pleased with what they had me doing.
Was that the same when you recorded for Hamp, the Jarvell Records, or was that?
When I recorded for Hamp, we did that in one of the big studios in Atlanta.
Okay.
Tommy Goodwin and a couple of guys that he was affiliated with. We even had parts of the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra playing on it.
Wow.
You listen to it, you hear strings.
Yeah.
You hear big horns, and that was done on the Hamp Swain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and this CD here is basically a compilation of stuff that Hamp, Swain, and somebody else released. You have 4 songs on this CD. Has it made you rich yet?
I wish. Of all the recordings I did, I never made a dime.
Yeah,
I never made a dime,
That's,
but I had fun.
that's the music business.
I had fun.
But seriously, the first song on here is your song, "Thank You, Baby,"
Yeah.
and it's the best song on the CD.
When I was in trouble, baby, you came and stood by my side. When my way got dark, little girl, you were there to be my guide. But now troubles are over, and there's clear sailing ahead. Before we go any further, there is something that's got to be said. I want to thank you, baby. I wanna thank you, baby. I wanna thank you, baby. Oh yes, I do. For standing by me, yeah. For standing by me.
That sounded like something that would have been a hit back in the day. So what have you been doing in the last few decades as far as music? Or
I've been studying music. I've been teaching music.
but you've got like a master's degree in counseling, or
Mental health counseling.
so is that what you've done for the last many years?
No, I just got that degree about 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. My boys and my grandson and stuff, they didn't want to go to college, so I figured if I went,
That would inspire them?
yeah,
Okay.
I'll try to inspire my kids.
Well, I'm glad that JMO got us together,
Yeah.
and you've been to some of the comp lunches that we have,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm just glad to know you, man.
Hey man, I'm glad to be around music people anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always been my whole life.
Yeah.
And as old as I am, I still haven't given up music.
Yeah.
I still practice my bass 4 or 5 hours every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, there is this CD that you can get. I found it on eBay, and but it was new. It was brand new, sealed, and everything. There's other singles that you've released over the years that you can get probably on eBay or Discogs. But I thank you for coming.
Hey, it's been my pleasure.
Thanks.
I thank you, man. You really inspired me to be thankful for the journey that I went on. Because because I didn't have a hit record for a long time, I thought I was a failure. But
You're the kind of person that I kind of look for, because I mean you are a part of the history. You didn't have any hit records, but you were here during that period of Hamp, Swain and Otis, and and of course the '70s when Capricorn was happening. So,
yeah, when I came in the studio, it looked like a cave.
yeah.
They had shag carpet on the wall.
Oh yeah.
Uneven, like it was rocks.
Right.
And the lights were behind the rocks.
Yeah. Well, there's still the rocks downstairs. Some of them.
I thought that was amazing the first time I came in here.
Yeah.
But I'll talk you to death because I'm telling you the truth. But I like telling people what I've done. The journey is really, really gratifying to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.